Hey guys, it's the Thanimal. I'm doing another Nerf review. This is a special Nerf review because what I'm actually going to be doing is I have two barricades. One of them is completely stock. The other one I have modified. So this is sort of a half review, and a lot of times in my Nerf reviews I'll also talk about the potential of them. And this way I don't have to speculate. I actually know I have a modified barricade and then an unmodified one. So I'm going to compare the two. So first off, the stock one. This is a Gear Up series that I got. It's a good overall blaster. When I first thought about buying it, my expectations were, oh, it's like an automatic Maverick. Not really. It's a lot larger. It has 10 darts rather than 6, and because it has so many electronics in it, it's a large and it's a heavier blaster than I expected. I expected something that I could just throw in my pocket, but it is a larger blaster. It is a little bit heavier, so that was sort of a downer. But on the gun itself, it is very good performing. It uses flywheels, 2 of them, and a dart pusher. So whenever this trigger is pulled, it pushes the dart through, and then the flywheels just shoot it right out. Almost like a little baseball training, like a batting cage kind of thing. Just shoots it right out. The only thing I don't really like about it is that a lot of times with new darts, you don't have to worry about them. But if you have any squish darts or kind of older darts, they have a tendency to fall out of these whenever you put it downwards. Let's see if I do it with these ones. I know some of them are like that. Yeah, like that one just fell right out. So you have to make sure you have really nice stock darts, or sometimes even new darts, if they're made just slightly thinner, will just fall right out, and that's the downside. But I would say that the firing is good. It gets about 30 feet. And I like how it shoots, not like a spring gun where it's sort of blasting right out. It glides really well, and it curves really well. This is good to if you're actually doing a Nerf war in your house. This is a really great blaster to have because they have a tendency to just arc right over a couch or a little whatever you have for cover. They arc really well, and they're pretty accurate because it's not a smacking force. It's just it's a pushing power. So they do a pretty good job with that. So. Let's see, anything else about this gun? It uses 3 AA batteries that are right in here, 1, 2, 3, which does add some weight. Again, the weight of the motors and the batteries tend to make this. It's not really that much of a pistol because it's kind of heavier, bigger to be a pistol, but it is kind of looking like a pistol. Besides it being a little too big for my liking, I still really like this gun. I always have this on me in a Nerf war because I have 2 of them, and I make sure one's going to me. Because it's a really great gun. Whenever I play Nerf, I play with cargo pants. I got these from Timberland. I'm sure you could probably get something comparable at Columbia or whatever. But these are great. I usually put Mavericks in here, but a barricade with a little bit of fuss and fits in there real nicely, and I can just pop it right out. Sometimes because the darts kind of come loose, I end up misfiring, and then later on I realize that there's like 3 or 4 Whistler darts in my pocket because these kind of come out sometimes. So that is a downside to it, but it is a very nice blaster to have at your side. A little bit better than a Maverick. So that's it stock. Oh yeah, and another thing about this is that it has an incredible amount of locks. There are locks in other blasters, but I never really saw them as much of a nuisance. I do take them out, but they're not much of a nuisance. The Barricade has some locks that are really annoying. One of them is that if the gun isn't on, the trigger doesn't even pull. It goes back maybe a millimeter. It really doesn't, and it's really frustrating. Like, I wish they would have put a circuit in there so if I pulled it, nothing would happen, or something like that, because it's just so annoying to just have this gun like this that I can't even pull the trigger, even if it doesn't do anything. Another thing is that with this rotating mechanism, because I can't pull the trigger, I can't rotate this to fit more darts in. So if I'm, say I have 2 darts that are missing from here, I'll put all the darts in here, and then I have to manually rotate it. And it sounds awful, and it feels like I'm breaking the gun, not because it's structurally unstable, it's just because I feel like I'm breaking it. But I have to do that to rotate it. Or what I found you can do is if you pull this back, because the gun won't actually go unless this is forward. But if I pull this back and pull that back the on and off switch to the on position, I can rotate it. But that's still really frustrating to do, because then I have to close it and then turn it off again. Segue into my barricade, I've taken all the locks out, including the entire jam door. Now the jam door is not as easy to take off as, say, a long strike, which you can just, when you unassemble it, you can just forget to put it in, which is what I did, and I'm like, hey, I like that. You can't do it with this one because there's something called a push to activate switch. Now, if you're into electronics, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're not, push to activate switch basically is a little switch, and it has a little nub on it, and when that gets depressed, it completes the circuit. Actually, I have it right here so you can see it. This is the actual one from this Barricade. Right now I have it hooked up to this battery tray because I don't know what to do with it yet, but this is what it looks like, and this is what's in there, and it gets placed. I think it's down inside there. So when the jam door closes, it depresses this, which completes the circuit. And once you do this, then it can rev up and fire. But when you don't have it and you pull it back, this opens up and then it doesn't complete the circuit, and then it doesn't run, it doesn't fire. So I had to take this out, including the jam door, which was kind of a hassle. It was my first ever soldering job, and it was really complicated. Now I know how to do it pretty easily, but it was complicated to do that. I also took off the front bit, like this, which is I already sharpied before. I had this gun a while before I modded it, and that would go right on here. And that actually improves your range when you take something like this out. I didn't really believe people when they said that, because I'm like, well, it's a little bit of barrel, it's not going to do much. It does. I actually tested this before I put the 9-volt in there. I actually tested this just without this this in there, and it actually shoots farther, believe it or not. So, but unfortunately with that, you have to take off a ton of screws here and kind of pry it open and get it out, which is the hassle. But I've taken that out. I've taken the jam door out. A few locks in here are gone, so on or off, it doesn't matter. If this jam door is gone, so we don't have to worry about that. The switch here, even if it's off, I still can rotate it. If I pull it down halfway, if I put it on full weight, it'll actually shoot the dart out, unfortunately. I just have to push that back and not be so sensitive with it. And when I mod it again, I'll make sure that doesn't happen anymore. But that it is handy that I can just rotate this around. So when I'm replacing the darts, I can seriously just put them in. And it's not a three-handed operation, kind of having to go like this. I seriously just take the dart and just put it in there, put it in there, put it in there. So you know, I'm really happy with it. The voltage mod, I used a 9-volt. The trickiest thing about a 9-volt is fitting it inside the casing. 3 AA's are supposed to fit in there nicely, not a 9-volt. So what I actually had to do was I had to Dremel this out. And I also had to Dremel out some of the supporting beams on this door because it still wouldn't fit because it's fatter, you know, and the 9-volt is fatter than the AA. So it was quite a hassle to get in there. It probably took me about an hour or two to Dremel all this out, mainly because I don't have a Dremel cutting bit. I just have a utility bit like this, so I had to basically whittle that away, and it took me hours. Kind of taught me to get an actual cutting bit, which I should be getting soon. All in all, this is you know, probably about double the range because this is going twice as fast, and also I don't have that thing in the front to slow me down. One of the big things about this, about doing all these modifications that I've done, is the weight difference. That's a huge thing. This gun, I mentioned before, is kind of large and too heavy to be a pistol, just because it's large and heavy and all the motors and the plastic. And you wouldn't think all this plastic really makes it different, but it does. You know, you just look at how this is sort of, you know, how it shadows it. This is a lot smaller, but it's also a lot lighter, especially with a 9-volt battery. So, I really like just the weight of this thing. And it just fits in my pocket even better than this does. I can even fit it in my top pocket if I wanted to. I couldn't do that with the other one. But I still fit it in down here anyways. I usually put an 18-round clip in there. So yeah, modified is great. The ranges are great. It is quite considerably louder, so it's very obvious that you modified your gun. If you play HVZ on a campus that's really big on not modifying guns, unfortunately you may want to try something different. Say some truss fires, 3.7 volts. If you put 2 of them in there and then you somehow connect these two, I've seen a lot of people do that. It's really great. It doesn't do quite 9 volts, but you still get a pretty good voltage increase without having to make it very, 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 very loud. So that said, the only downside of this modified is that it is loud. So now I'm just going to do a quick little firing demo of them, just so you can kind of see them in action. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I'm just going to do that now to wrap this up. Overall, buying the gun stock, is a great gun. It's not one of those guns where you have to modify to make it any good. It's a great gun by itself, great for fire support. I would rather have one of those on my side than a Maverick, even though Mavericks can be pretty reliable most of the time. Just the Barricade just offers that firepower. Great weapon for attacking people with. So first I'll do the stock one. That's probably the best way to do it. I'll do the stock blaster. I'm sorry I can't go outside, but if you can see, it's kind of snowy and crazy cold out there. I don't want to go do that. So I'm just going to shoot it around in here. If you want me to do an official range test, tell me, drop me a comment or a message. I will do an official range test if you want me to, but I'm just too lazy right now. So, alright, so that's the standard one. Still gets pretty good ranges. And then here's the louder, modified one. Oh, I hit my screen. I hope I didn't damage it. So there we go. There's my two. And yeah, if you like it, actually press the like button. Some people forget to do that. And subscribe and drop me a comment if you have any questions on any more specifics about how to mod this. I'd definitely be willing to answer them. So thanks again. You folks have a nice day. I'm out.